I am going to be documenting my journey of not only starting my Blood Angels army, but learning to play. In August, I'm going to be playing with my army. That sounds right, doesn't it? Who knows? I'm playing a game of Warhammer at Gothic Games Canterbury. Am I scared? Yes. Am I out of my depth? Also yes. But what was it that Uncle Ben said?
With great power comes great responsibility.
All of which I have neither, so I don't know why I'm talking about that. Let's go. Let it be known, I am familiar with the lore. I'm not familiar with gameplay. So this video is very much a beginner's perspective. I even think beginner might be too generous. A noob's perspective. And I would genuinely, wholeheartedly welcome any advice, tips, tricks, whatever you need to do to help me, educate me, just in a very kind way, I beg. For context, I acquired a secondhand army. I'm going to share that list with you on the screen. It wasn't my plan this whole time, but it's where I ended up. So they needed stripping down to their absolute naked selves. So I'm going to be documenting this whole process, whether you like it or not. But either way, at this current moment in time, I haven't collected them, but I will be collecting them at the end of this week. I did ask my wonderfully nerdy community over on Instagram for the best practice to transport my new offspring so that I'm not a bad army parent, and a Jucoci case came highly recommended. So I'm going to unbox it in this video whilst showing some things that I've kind of learned so far as a new player that might help you if you're also a noob like me, or maybe you're just wanting to start a Blood Angels army too, or maybe you really couldn't care less, but at least you get to look at a pretty cool case. So the first thing that you're definitely needing to pick up is the new codex. Now I know digital copies exist, but personally I just prefer holding like an actual book in my hands. I said book. It's just way more satisfying. Plus the physical copy, it comes with a handy code that you can then register in the app. I know you know this already, but one person out there might not, so that was for them. Either way, if you're going to play Blood Angels, then this book, it's kind of essential. But there's also a catch. You're also going to need the Space Marines Codex, because Blood Angels, they still use a lot of basic Space Marine units, and not all those units will show up in the Blood Angels Codex. It's a bit of a pain in the behind. But honestly, if you're playing any type of Space Marines other than Chaos guys, you'll want this codex too. So once you've sorted the rules out, I then suggest grabbing the new Combat Patrol. Now this is why I say it. When I first started looking into this hobby, and trust me, I dove headfirst into Reddit threads, that was intense, YouTube tutorials, articles, even podcasts, the #1 piece of advice that was given was start with the Combat Patrol box. Now the reason I found is that it's just a solid value. You get around 500 points worth of Blood Angels right out of the box, and it's just a really cool starting point for your army. So the only reason I opted for a full-blown army, because that was my plan this whole time, the price the person was asking for, it was just too good to turn down. So if you're thinking about grabbing even more stuff right away, I'd just hold off for a little bit. It was always my plan before I nabbed the good eBay bargain, but instead just take some time to build and paint your Combat Patrol first if you're going like brand new. Then if you can, just grab a few games. I haven't even picked my army up yet, and I've already squeezed in a couple of games using my friend's armies. The rules are free to download after all, so you may as well just do it. Getting those early games in, it just gives you like a better feel for how the army works. It can help you figure out as well what direction you want to go in. Plus, it's just way more fun to play. This is on the assumption that you have friends. Huh? That didn't come out right. You have friends in local places where you can play Combat Patrol with. Plus, basics obviously like dice, tape measure, terrain to battle on. If not, that's probably your next step before diving deeper. Just find yourself a local community. Another cool resource that I've really been utilizing, particularly for jargon and taking things at your own pace when it comes to learning how to play, is the Vanguard Tactics. I have their Blood Angels Masterclass. Can't even talk today. And it did help me familiarize myself with the mechanics of gameplay, the language that's used. I'll link their details in the description if you want to check them out, but they are also a really cool resource for new people to the hobby. So if you're building your Combat Patrol and getting some games under your belt, I definitely suggest checking out some of the other units that are unique to the Blood Angels. See if any of them match your play style. You might even find yourself more into like Death Company than the Sanguinary Guard, for example. And the good news is it's early days for you, so you can just easily pivot your army in any direction you want. I can't because I went full-blown army, but that was my original game plan. So don't forget though that you've also got this awesome lineup of special characters that the Blood Angels have. They each bring their own unique flavor to the battlefield, and it's totally worth just spending a little bit of your time reading up on them, YouTube them, see who catches your eye and fit fits the way that you like to play. Once you've played a few games, gotten a feel for them, it's time for some, like, this is your self-reflection moment, right? Are you actually enjoying this army? By now you should have a pretty good sense of if they fit your style, and if you're not feeling them, then you don't have to keep going down that Blood Angels path. But we're probably going to fall out, right? Maybe you were just secretly hoping they'd be a bit more spicy, and now you're just disappointed because they're not scratching that gun line itch that you so desperately need to scratch. If that's the case, absolutely fine. The good news is, if you're at this point, then you still have time to pivot. I know I keep mentioning about pivoting because I can't pivot. I just went full deep end with my army. Because I knew in my heart and soul, body, mind, everything, that the Blood Angels were for me. But leave yourself some pivoting room. Somewhere in there is a Friends reference. I know there is. I don't watch Friends, but anyway. Also, you've got the Space Marine Codex, and there are tons of other ways to play more vanilla armies if you wanted to. But anyway, you might have put the Sanguinary Guard aside, but you've still got solid units in there too, like the Assault Intercessors and a captain to work with. So it's not like you have to start completely from scratch. Plus, if you ever change your mind down the line, your Blood Angels will be ready and waiting. Their flexibility of this hobby is kind of something that's really cool about it. You can just dip in and out, and it's really nice. So the key things to note: grab your codex, pick up that combat patron, and just play some games. Then decide if you're loving it. You can go all in on their unique stuff, or like me, just grab them and go. I researched it a lot, but if you've got better advice, I genuinely would like to hear your thoughts, because I am new to this and I am learning, and I will just take on board as much as I possibly can. The next video, following on from this one anyway, it will be uniting with my army for the very first time. How romantic. Anyway, one time, please do all, that was two. One time for the lovers cry. Please do all those things you need to do to support my tiny channel. Catch you in the next one.